that in the 48 hours after the election, a lot of very upset leftists started pulling back from political content. I was hit by it.
No, not from
Brian
political content, from your political content.
I have to be able to talk about it,
them about everything.
I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to get a word in. Unless you just want Dave Rubin to talk. Let me know, Piers.
I love hearing Dave Rubin talk.
I would prefer that.
Thank you, Piers.
No, if there's no rebuttal allowed, then I won't rebut.
You've probably done most of the talking so far, so why don't you do a bit more talking?
I'll say this and then I'll be quiet the rest of the show.
Because Brian hasn't said anything for ages. I want to bring him in.
The woke idiot who was begging for subscribers after Donald Trump won the election, David Pakman, went on Piers Morgan Uncensored and got absolutely obliterated by the entire panel. They all piled on to him, other than Brian Tyler Cohen here in the bottom left, who's friends with David Pakman, who also lost a ton of subscribers after Kamala Harris lost the 2024 election. They both went on Piers Morgan, and David Pakman makes a statement that sets off the entire panel, including Piers Morgan himself, and they all pile on to David Pakman. Now let's get into this clip here of David Pakman going on Piers Morgan's show and getting destroyed by the entire panel on live television.
There's something actually there. There's something there, Dave.
It's always some gay person that's talking on our behalf. So I'm really excited today to talk about how everyone here is wrong. David, I love your show. I consider you a friend.
I can't be wrong.
You and the Democrats are completely wrong about what trans people need. We don't need you advocating for, trans vaginoplasties in prison. We need to retreat back to the basics of what we need, which is HRT and healthcare. And the problem is the Democrats have been captured by this fringe left that's redefined what trans means to all this non-binary nonsense and all this stuff that has nothing to do with how we got our rights in the first place. Ben, you can appreciate this. I was the first trans person to ever transition at Ole Miss, our alma mater. That was very, very difficult. It was 20 years ago, toddy. And
wow, what an accomplishment, hey?
The thing is, the way I got equality and got people to respect me in Mississippi was not by screaming at them or lecturing them about my pronouns. It was getting them to see my humanity. This is something trans people have just completely lost. And the problem is the Democratic Party is unwilling to call out these bad actors. And because of this, we are having a conversation that does not serve trans people. Piers, I am begging you on this show, stop inviting these stupidest leftists on to make the argument for trans civil rights. Let some people actually understand this stuff. And Dave is laughing because you understand integration as a gay man. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've done the same playbook your whole career.
Well, this
works. This is
first
how you
off,
got
I'm only gay. I'm only gay starting at 10 p.m. What time is it? We'll have to check on that. But actually, you're completely right. Brianna, you're completely right. What's happening with the left is that these saviors, these progressive warriors that you see in these boxes here, think that they know more about these people.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Than they know about themselves.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And by the way, this has nothing to do with a well-funded evil money machine that the Republicans were doing. There's something called boys and girls. And
Rubin's
they are
the right
different.
guy to talk about
and
that, isn't he?
Most parents, oh God, you're such a smug prick. Listen, most parents actually want to defend their daughters and don't want them to have the crap kicked out of them by boys, and they don't want them to be playing boys in soccer or any of these other things. That is a defense of girls. If someone, as an adult, 18, 21, we can discuss the age, wants to dress how they want, have any surgeries, take whatever drugs, do whatever they want with their body, most people, even Republicans, don't object to that. And I have no problem referring to Brianna as she, because I can clearly sense she would treat me with respect and I'll treat her with respect. And it's a two-way street rather than pandering and bowing to a bunch of people that could not give a crap about anybody else.
Yeah, and David, let me bring in David Pakman again, because you were very quick when I asked how you felt about being so wrong about this, to accuse me of being misleading, disinformation, misconstruing a United Nations report. So because we're a very nimble team here, while you were talking, they just went and double-checked, because I was curious what you were talking about. And we found, we found the United Nations report. And it's not a footnote, as you said, it's page 5 of the report. It says, and I quote, The United Nations says nearly 900 biological females have fallen short of the podium because they were beaten out by trans athletes. The findings were compiled by the UN's Rapporteur on Violence Against Women, entitled Violence Against Women and Girls in Sport. The report said more than 600 athletes didn't medal in more than 400 competitions in 29 different sports, totaling over 890 medals. The replacement of the female sports category with a mixed sex category has resulted in an increasing number of female athletes losing opportunities, including medals, when competing.
The thing is, no matter what source Piers Morgan responds to David Pakman with, this is the game that they play. This is the game that Destiny plays. It's the game that David Pakman plays, Brian Tyler Cohen, everybody on this Piers Morgan panel that's a leftist. It's the game that they play. You bring to them facts. First, you make a claim and they say, where's the facts? Piers Morgan brings up the facts. What's the source? And now no matter what source Piers Morgan says, David Pakman gets to say, oh, that's a ridiculous source. Why would you bring that up here? Of course they're not credible. Because the only sources that David Pakman deems credible are the ones that lean left wing. And of course, the sources that lean left wing would never report on something that makes the left wing look so bad. So that's the game that they play. They get to infinitely just make whatever claim that they want and refute any claim that they want, because all they have to say is, where's your source? And when you actually bring a source, they just laugh at it and say, oh, this source is not credible. It's not even a left-leaning source. And of course, like I said, the left-leaning sources would never report on something that makes the left look so bad. So that's the game that they always play. David Pakman does the same thing, always.
Competing against males, the report said. So David, again, would you like to now apologise for being not only wrong about this being an election issue, but being wrong about your correction when I asked you if you were sorry for being wrong?
Look at the underlying source, Piers. I have it printed out.
You said it was a
in the other
footnote.
room.
It wasn't a footnote.
Look at the
It's page
underlying
5.
source.
It's page
now,
5.
I do want to say one thing about this. I actually agree with a lot of what Brianna and what Dave Rubin said. I actually agree with it. I am not the savior here to do X, Y, or Z for trans people. What I'm saying is I don't actually think I even need to play that role. I don't think this is the issue that maybe you think I believe it to be. So I agree with a lot of what Dave Rubin and Brianna said there. I do think it's important to consider that when Dave Rubin talks about well-funded this or that, his Russian money source just dried up, and he's the last person who should be talking about funding sources. And to be honest, Dave, hold on a second. Hold on. Now Ben's jumping. Everybody's jumping. Hold on a second. I can't even hear. Why would Ben jump in? I'm not even addressing Ben.
Hang on. You made a very direct charge against Dave Rubin. Let Dave Rubin reply to that.
Because no one believes your BS anymore. Jesus Christ, these people are so pathetic.
They've been indicted, Rubin. The Tenet Media people were indicted.
I got indicted.
He was not indicted. And it said in the report, if you weren't a smug prick, to quote him
I
earlier,
didn't say Rubin was indicted. I just said the money dried up.
Dave Rubin and the others.
I mean, you wouldn't make the point. The crime is not taking money from a Russian person. The crime would be taking money from a Russian person to spread Russian propaganda. So if Dave Rubin is not indicted, that means he didn't know. I don't want to say that he didn't know, because I don't even know if anything actually ended up happening. I think the jury's still out, especially in my own head, innocent until proven guilty, especially in cases like this. But even if it is true, the only reason why you would bring that up is because you're insinuating that Dave Rubin would have known that he was taking Russian money to spread Russian propaganda. That'd be the only reason why you bring this up. And obviously, if you're saying, I didn't say Dave Rubin was indicted, I said the money dried up. Well, you wouldn't bring that up unless you thought that Dave Rubin knew, which would mean that he would get indicted in the future. Like, come on, dude. It's just such bad faith.
Involved did not know about it, and this is why people think you're kind of a jackass.
Yes, this is why everyone hates progressives.
Putting words in my mouth.
This is the reason why you read the report. And by the way, Pakman, if this happened to you, and in the
Ben's
report it said you were unaware, if it said that you were unaware, I would defend you, because I don't think you indict people for things.
I'm defending Dave.
Says in the indictment, in the indictment,
I'm defending
they had no knowledge of the money where it was coming from. So don't be a jackass.
I'm defending Dave on that note, but the money dried up.
Pakman,
you're being a tool, man.
You are no real Pakman, which I'm quite good at. There's a reason, Piers. There's a reason that everyone hates progressives, and the reason that everyone hates progressives, it's not just that. It's not just that they're wrong about all of the issues and they will lie and their only real goal is power. It's because they're also smug elitists. And Pakman, I did see online the other day, you were crying because your audience is purging you and you're running out of subscribers and you're in a doom loop. And the reason is no one gives, Piers, pardon me, a shit about this woke bullshit anymore. We've had it, and now you guys can sit back and be quiet. You want to talk about people being paid for their ideas?
Just let me address this.
It's you people who have had the entire cultural machine for 20 years. You've had all of entertainment. You have had all of Hollywood. You have had all of music. You've had all your P. Diddy parties and Epstein and everything else. And now enough of us have had it. So crawl back into your little irrelevant cave. It's time, bro.
Can I address any of that, Piers? Is that allowed?
Sure.
Okay. It is absolutely true that in the 48 hours after the election, a lot of very upset leftists started pulling back from political content. I was hit by it.
No, not from political content, from your political content.
I have to be able to talk about it,
them about everything.
I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to get a word in. Unless you just want Dave Rubin to talk. Let me know, Piers.
I love hearing Dave Rubin talk.
I would prefer that.
Thank you, Piers.
No, if there's no rebuttal allowed, then I won't rebut.
You've probably done most of the talking so far, so why don't you do a bit more talking?
I'll say this and then I'll be quiet the rest of the show.
Because Brian hasn't said anything for ages. I want to bring him in.
I want Brian to win. That completely reversed. I do think that it must be that Dave is upset that Brian and I have surpassed him in viewership and subscribers. Because if you just look at the numbers, it lasted 48 hours. They all came back.
I don't even know who this other guy is.
Well, look, if it's going to come to that, I'm the biggest rocket in the room, right? I mean, it's like as Trump said to Kim Jong-un, you got your little rocket, I got my big rocket. So let's not get into the size of each other's YouTube rocket.
But that's the smug nonsense. Nobody cares about that.
It's the facts, Dave.
I honestly have no idea what your...
Let me bring in Brian.
I have no idea what your views are, but I couldn't care less. I know your ideas are terrible. Like, I don't care what your views are. Who cares?
Let me bring in Brian.
You brought it up.
Brian, on a wider point about this whole issue of wokeism. You know, Elon Musk was big on...
You know, it is kind of funny that David Pakman is the one that tried to do like the rocket measuring contest, as Piers Morgan put it. It's funny how these people care so much about that. And you could tell when somebody's just kind of doing this all for the subscribers, for the clout, for the money. They lost David Pakman lost 10,000 subscribers. It might seem like a lot to just a normal person. To someone David Pakman's size, like, number one, subscribers don't even matter on YouTube anymore. The only reason why subscribers even matter a little bit is because they get sent your notifications. You know, that's the only reason. And then other than that, it's a vanity metric. It's cool to feed your ego, and that's it. Like, nobody uses the subscription feed on YouTube anymore. They just go to the homepage. So subscribers don't even matter. And also, I think David Pakman was using that to just make sales, to get more memberships, to try and get the left to rally around him and make money off the election loss. And it's funny how he's the one that brings up the rocket measuring contest, like I said, like how Piers Morgan put it, because you can just tell the left, David Pakman, these types of people, they're the ones that care about that more than anything. They lose the election, oh man, it's going to be fine. You know, we'll come back in 4 years. They lose 10,000 subscribers. Red alert, please give me money. Subscribe to my memberships, all this stuff. It's like, it's so obvious, man. That's what these people care about most. Book sales, paying members, stuff like that. And that's why the left lost. And that's why they lost so many subscribers, because people are starting to wake up to the fact that they're just being lied to. They're existing in this echo chamber and being lied to, getting told comforting lies. And the reality is the uncomfortable truth. And that was kind of force-fed to them by them losing the election, by Donald Trump winning the election, not just the Electoral College, but also the popular vote. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about David Pakman getting absolutely obliterated by everybody on this panel. I mean, everybody piled onto him except for his best friend, Brian Tyler Cohen. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole David Pakman versus the entire Piers Morgan panel in the comments.